So I'm going to invite Tristan to come on up as we say a prayer. Let us pray. May the words of Tristan's mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable and pleasing in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome for Tristan's Senior Chapel Talk.
I want everyone to think of a place that you feel the happiest, the safest, and the most comfortable. It might be your home, because this is the place where you're constantly at to sleep, eat, and just relax. Your bed is here, arguably the most comfortable thing in your house. Your family is here, arguably your favorite people in your life. Your pets are here, arguably the best friends in the world. Another place you might be thinking of is your favorite sport. There's the basketball court, a football field, outside track, or a baseball field. And maybe this is the spot where you're constantly going to take your mind off things. The spot where you're the most focused, or the spot where you're the most energetic. And because of this might be the reason why you find yourself joyful, content, and safe while playing your sport. Have you ever had the opportunity to travel to an exotic place? Maybe there's a specific vacation destination spot that you just feel the happiest in. I think everyone here knows about one of the more magical places in the country, Disney World. Now, Disney World is often deemed as being the happiest place on earth, maybe because the excitement people get from riding those roller coasters with all the loops, drops, twists, and turns. Maybe it's from the fact that people can take pictures with their favorite life-size version characters, such as Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Darth Vader, or my personal favorite, Woody from Toy Story. Maybe it's from the amazing different types of foods that you get to try that will give your stomach that perfect fulfillment after a long day of walking. Regardless of what the reason is, people might like going to Disney World. My family loves going there because of the time we get to be away from our normal everyday lives. It's a time where we can just go to a place that's so far away that we don't have to worry about anything that's happening back at home. It's a time where we can just be together, experiencing the wonders and creative works that Walt Disney had in mind when coming up with the theme park concept. It's a time where my mom is able to force us to take countless pictures and videos so she can save them and look back on them. It's a time where we can also be forced into being that family, the one with the big black boulder words that say Tamez 2022 summer vacation. But lastly, it's a time where we can just reflect, smile, be joyful, and realize how blessed we are to have the means to be able to travel and enjoy the vacation in the first place. Now, I'm betting you have a place that makes you feel the happiest, such as playing a sport or going to Disney World to enjoy the rides and experience that burst of thrill and excitement. But my happiest place is somewhere that some might find unusual. As much as I love going to family trips to Disney, and as much as I would love to spend time on a beach in an exotic country, the place that makes me feel the safest, the most comfortable, and the most joyful is in a small little town outside of San Antonio, which is known as the Strawberry City of the United States, called Poteet, Texas. Now in Poteet, there are several little restaurants, shops, and outdoor food markets that make up the city. However, the place that sticks out to me the most is that small little church that's located right before you enter the main street. And this church is called RLC, or Resurrected Life Church. RLC has been an established church for about 6 years now, and I've been attending this church since the day it was founded. Throughout the years, we went through many trials and setbacks. We were forced to meet at 3 different building locations before buying our own. And we had to shut down because of COVID, and our only solution was to have service outside in our little cars. Countless fundraisers were created in order to try and raise enough money to start construction on the new building. Troubling tasks were forced on us, such as fixing AC units and broken pipes, having to spend countless hours cutting the grass, sweeping the floors, and moving around construction materials. We didn't have the financial capabilities that some other big churches had, so we were stuck being the ones to come up with different ways to support the construction of our new church building. However, through all of these tribulations and tough times, we continue to stay loyal and faithful to God and believing that He would take care of us. And that's exactly what happened. The church members and I never felt like it was a chore to clean and maintain the building because we knew that this church would go on to positively impact so many lives. We were blessed with anonymous donations that would help us buy materials to keep the construction of the church going. Now, the progress that was made over the last couple years have been incredible, but like I said, it wasn't done by professionals. Most of the work that had been done from the building was from the people that attended our church. From putting up sheetrock and painting the walls to installing light fixtures and doors, and even setting up all the TVs, computers, and sound systems, the members of the church and I made our mark on that building. The reason why I find this church building to be my second home, is to be so special to me, is because every time I enter through those doors, it reminds me of all the hours we put in to complete the building. It reminds me of the teamwork, grit, and determination that was shown by everyone. And it reminds me of the fact that all the people in the church came together for one common goal, which was to build up God's vision for us. Now, like I mentioned before, my family's been going to Disney World in Orlando, Florida for a couple years now. And every year, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing trip. However, this past summer's trip to Disney felt a little bit different. Now at RLC, we're finally going to be hosting our very own summer camp called Vacation Bible School. During Vacation Bible School, kids from all ages throughout the community are able to come to our church for a week of games, food, dancing, singing, and overall just learning more about God while also forming a deep and meaningful relationship with Him. The only problem was that VBS was going to start the same week that my family was still going to be out of town. And because of this, I was going to be forced to miss the planning, setting up, and first day of camp. Now, normally this wouldn't be a big deal, except for this year specifically. I was asked to be the recreational leader for the camp, which meant that I would lead the games and do different activities with the kids. Now, while I was away, I couldn't stop thinking about what was happening back at the church, how close they were to finishing the decorating, and I couldn't stop thinking about how excited those kids would be on the first day. I started to realize how I missed being there. I missed being at the church. I missed walking through those double doors and feeling a sense of comfort. I missed being able to greet the new visitors as they came to our church. And I missed just overall being in the presence of God. I missed my second home. Now, despite physically being at Disney World, my heart was still in that small little town of Poteet, Texas. As much as Disney and Poteet might seem like complete opposite places to you, they really do have more in common than you might think. Disney World, which is supposed to be the happiest place on earth, and my small little church in that small little town didn't seem so different. Disney World has kids running around in excitement because they get to see Mickey Mouse. But the church has people running around in excitement because they get to have a conversation with God through prayer. Disney World is a place where people feel safe because they have so much fun. But church is a place where people feel safe because they know that God is there with them. Disney World brings people together from different cultures, backgrounds, and ethnicities, but the church also accepts anyone and brings people together from tons of different ways of life. The idea of Disney World was thought up by Walt Disney, right? A man filled with creativity and new ideas. But the church was thought up by God, a God who is filled with love and prosperity. When I came back from my family vacation, I had an urgency to be back at the church building, an urgency to see my church family again, an urgency to be a volunteer and give back, and an urgency to be back in the place where I felt most connected with the presence of God. The church shows people love and it gives people hope. When facing tough times and going through daily struggles, God is there waiting for you. He's always listening and willing to help us out, and this makes me feel a sense of comfort. God is constantly looking out for us and making ways for us to be successful, and this makes me feel a sense of safety. God is constantly doing those miracles behind the scenes, even whenever we don't even realize it, and this makes me feel a sense of joy. As the week of VBS progressed and I went back to the church, I was able to return to my role as recreational leader, and I was able to see the excitement that the kids had while they were singing, dancing, and playing. To see the happiness in the children's faces, it made me feel so joyful to know that others were having such a great time in my happy place. There was this one little 6-year-old girl, and her name was Callie. She was always so quiet whenever she entered through those double doors and whenever she was getting dropped off by her parents, but as soon as she got comfortable, her face would always light up because she was just so excited to be in a place where she knew she was going to have an amazing time. Callie's joy will always be a reminder that I need to know that this is my place. Callie was attending a small little vacation Bible school in Poteet, Texas, yet her smile was as big as if she's about to ride Space Mountain at Disney World. What I'm trying to say here is that while I was away from my church community, I started to miss it. Even though I was in a place that was supposed to be the happiest place on earth, It made me reflect. I thought, what if I never got to go back? Am I taking my church family for granted? And what if I don't ever get to feel the joy that I felt in that place with all those people? The presence of happiness, joy, and excitement can be anywhere, even in this very chapel. It doesn't have to be in a beach in some exotic country. And this is when I realized that you don't have to go all the way to Disney to be in the greatest place on earth. Because the greatest place on earth is the place where the Spirit of God comes alive in you. And it made me commit to not taking things for granted. I hope that by now you've thought of the place that you feel the happiest, the place that you feel the safest, and the place that you never want to leave from. And I hope that you learn to appreciate it more, because there could be a day where you just never go back. There could be a day that our happy place is changed into something else, and there could be a day where we just don't wake up that morning. There's a famous saying which says tomorrow is not promised. However, God calls us to seize the day and live each day like it's our last. In the Bible, in the book of Psalms, chapters 118, verse 24, it says that this is the day the Lord has made. So let us rejoice and be glad in it. Remember that tomorrow is not promised. It isn't guaranteed that we'll live to see another day, so we should live each day like it's our last. I hope we can learn to take advantage of the days we're given, and we don't need to go to Disney to find the peace we seek. A content and happy heart is closer than we think. In fact, it's usually right in front of us or literally within us. Today, I'll be more appreciative of the blessings that God has given me, and I invite you to do the same. Thank you.